Hey guys, welcome back to our YouTube channel PMYG-Edu. Today's topic is C++ statements, and don't worry, but this is a very important topic and I'm going to teach you in a very detailed way. So let's dive into the agenda for today. Today's agenda is we're going to cover up all the C++ statements. So let's I'm gonna read out loud the definition and I'm gonna break it into parts and explain you what it is basically. A statement is a fragment of a program. That means a statement is a very small piece of a program. But don't you dare underestimate this, because this statement has a lot to do with the process and in what order the program is executed. So, first point, a statement is a piece of a program. It may be a single line of code or a block of code. And the function of the statement is it determines how and which direction program is executed. Alright, hope you got this. So we're going to discuss the various types of statements in detail. The first type of statement is declaration statement. I'm going to read out loud the statements so that you would note it down. Declaration statements, selection statements, iteration statements, expression statements, compound statements, jump, and exception handling statements. The first one, declaration statements in C++. So as we have heard of declaration, that means something that we use, or like we define a name, or we give or introduce a name, right? So declaration statement introduces a name along with its data type in a program. Let's clear that out with an example. Int main. We use int to declare main in C++, whereas in C we use a void or some other data type, but in C++ we make sure we use int. Alright, so int main, int a, that means we declares a variable a with its data type int, and int string b, that means we declared a variable b with its data type string, return 0. So int a semicolon is a statement. As we discussed earlier, every statement ends with a semicolon. So int a semicolon is a declaration statement because, as we have stated earlier, a is a name which is introduced along with its data type int and ended with a semicolon. Yeah, so hope you got clear understanding of declaration statements, and then we're going to go to selection statements in C++. I'm sorry I have not given you the heading, but yeah, note it down. Selection statements in C++. There are 6 selection statements in C++. If else, nested if else, if ladder, switch statements, nested switch statements. So I'm going to give you a brief explanation of the definition of selection statements. So selection means we select something. That means if we go to a shop, we buy something, we select something out of the block of various things, right? So selection statements choose a section of code to execute on the basis of the outcome of the test. That means here we have a test. Alright, and if the test is true, the program will be if the test is true, it executes a section of code written under it, and if the test is false, it may or may not choose. Like, if you write a block of code, it will execute the block of code, or if you don't write a block of code, then it will go to the next part of the program. So the selection statement is nothing but a statement that selects a code to be executed based on the test result. If the test is true, it executes some part of the block of code. If the test is false, it executes some other part of the block of code. Alright, next type of statements is iteration statements. That means it iterates. That means it repeats itself many number of times. So let's first dive into the definition so that you may understand what iteration statements are. It is also called looping statements. Alright, make sure you know that. Iteration statements are also called as looping statements. I'm going to read the definition and I'm going to break it into parts and explain it you in detail. And iteration or looping is a sequence of one or more statements that are repeatedly executed. As we have said that, execution will be repeated until the condition is satisfied. Yeah. As we have, in selection statements we have test. If it's true, it executes the block of code. If it's false, it executes another block of code. In the same way, in iteration statements, until the condition is satisfied, the loop will be executed continuously, repeatedly. These statements are also called as control flow statements because they control the flow of the execution of the statements. Yeah, you were right there. It is used to reduce the length of code, to reduce time to execute program and take less memory space. And so iteration statements are nothing but these statements repeat the code, block of code repeatedly until this condition is satisfied. Alright, these are also called as control flow statements. You were right. So I depicted a block to make sure you read it and note it down. It is very important. So there are three types of iteration statements. They are for statement, while, and do while. So all looping statements repeat a set of statements as long as the specified condition remains true. The specified condition is referred to as loop control. So the specified condition is referred to as loop control. Yeah. Parts of the loop. So we have three types of iteration statements: for, while, do while. Parts of statements. Parts of the loop. Initialization expression. That means we give a condition and, for example, I less than 10, and then we test the expression. Like we give a statement and if we test it and then update the expression like I plus plus and then the body of the loop, right? Yeah, I'm gonna give a deep explanation of parts of the loop in detail in the next video. So first one is for loop. Yeah, the for loop is the easiest looping statement which allows code to be executed repeatedly. Yeah, so it is the easiest statement. It contains three different statements: initialization, test expression, and update expression, separated by semicolon. As we have learned that parts of the loop has for, which is initialization, test expression, update expression, the body of the loop, right? And here there will be no. Yeah, so the four parts have been depicted here in the for loop too. So the syntax of for loop is for. So first one is initialization. Next, test expression, update expression. First, we test the expression and then we initialize the expression and then we go to update expression, right? So this is a sequence. So we test, initialize, update. Alright, the statements are given below. See, as I have told you here, I have depicted them in this block. You have to note it down in the exam too. So first, initialization statement, and then test expression, and then we go into the body of the loop. If it's true, alright, then we update the statement. So initialization, test, and body of the loop, update statement. Exit if it's false. Then the next statement. So I write to you, I wrote a very simple program to depict for loop in detail. So first, this here, I will stream input output stream. So I will discuss this the parts of structure of C programming detail in maybe 2 or 3 videos later. Yeah, int main, and then we have declared a variable of int type and the variable name is I. Which type of statement is it is? We have discussed this earlier. A variable that introduces a name and has a data type ended with a semicolon is nothing but, yeah, you were right. It is a selection statement. And we have wrote a for loop here, which is the easiest loop. For I equals to 0. That means here we initialize the value of I. And then we have given a condition. And then initialization. So first what happens? I equals to 0. Initialization occurs as we have seen in the block of flowchart, and then the test condition is tested. So if I is less than 2, then so 0 is less than 2, yeah, true, so it enters into the body of the loop. What is the body of the loop? Value of I is, we give I. Alright, thanks for watching, and I will give you a quick summary of what we have learned. We have learned that about the definition of a statement, which is nothing but a piece of program. It may be single or double-lined, and it is ended with a semicolon. And the function of the program is it determines how, in what order program is executed. And we have discussed declaration statements and selection statements and some part of iteration statements, and I will be discussing the rest of the statements in detail in the next video. Hope you all like it. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. I will be discussing about the structure of C++ and all of the statements in detail in the next video. Slow and steady wins the race.